Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anime Void. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm going to be ranking all of the servant costumes in Fate Grand Order. And as you can see by this bottom tier here, some biases will come up. I will try my best to be objective, but biases are biases, and you're going to hear a few. So be prepared for that, because I'm going to also be kind of brutal with it. And whenever I'm talking about any of the costumes, I will make sure I put up the full art on the screen, so if you personally haven't seen the costume I'm talking about, you will see it right there. Now, to start everything off, let's go with Mosh, our cute little eggplant kohai. Her first costume is the first costume in the game. I keep accidentally right-clicking, but doesn't matter, it went into the right spot. But yes, she got her swimsuit costume during the first summer event, and it is a good midpoint for all costumes. It is a different outfit from what she normally wears. The background art is different. The main downside is that the sprite model is a bit lazy. It is basically just the same model with different clothes slapped onto it. So, pros, cons, directly in the middle. And from here, I'm just going to start randomly picking. Let's go with... let's keep going with Mosh. Let's keep it thematic. So her second swimsuit costume, which just came out, corrects everything that's wrong with first Mosh swimsuit. It is a portrait. It is different art. It's dynamic art. It's beautiful art. So basically, it takes everything that is good about getting a servant costume and running with it. So with that, second swimsuit Mosh gets S tier. And then we have Ortonix. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yes, this is the Lost Belt Mosh. And it is the first costume to change skills. The downside about that is that the changing of the skills makes the overall utility of Mosh just a bit weaker, in my opinion. So, with that, gonna put into C tier because she's still Mosh, and I kind of like the costume overall. I just don't like how they downgrade the skills. Like, they gave her that Buster skill, and that really just clashes with Mosh's kit horrifically. Like, if they give her more skills, like, I know they give her the cannon thing, Black Barrel, that's it, later, but that still doesn't really work with Mosh personally. So whenever she gets her Noble Phantasm upgrade, maybe everything will just like fall into place, but until then, yeah. And then Repaired Ortonix gets another one down because they just removed the visor. That was it. So yeah, that I don't like. It's like, you could have made it look a bit more patchwork. It would have still been like C tier if they like changed other things about it, but since they just took off the visor, no. But since I just went with a multiple, let's find one that I put in A tier before I go into the bad category. So Kotaro I would put in A tier because he's a pretty boy. He's such a pretty boy. This looks like a boy band cover, or at least a single like teenage heartthrob kind of cover for an album. And it's kind of interesting. I don't use Kotaro that much in the game, but if I ever had to get him to max ascension and use him for something, I would take the next step and get the costume as well. And that's kind of the point. Everything that's being up, I would pay mats for. Certain servants, it has to be the correct conditions, I guess. But I would still do it. If I ever those conditions were ever met, I would definitely do it without hesitation. All right, now let's get into some bad stuff. I'm not going to go into the really, really bad stuff where I just have, like, an absolute meltdown. So let's go with BB. BB Summer. because the light works. You are on all of the crack. If you think for a second I'm going to be spending any amount of mats or QP just to get rid of Summer BB's tan and nothing else. So yeah, I hate it. I actively hate it. This one gets to D tier only because she has a very cute face here. I like the face, but that's about it. That is the only thing that saves it. I can't hate that face. That face, though, I can hate that face. I can definitely hate that face. All right, so let's just go in whatever is happening here. Oh, she's on top of my channel. So yeah, Spacious Chard. This is a palette swap. So it's a pleasing palette swap, though, but I would not spend mats on it. I would not spend mats on a palette swap. Well, maybe. Some palette swaps. But, yeah, no palette swaps. Let's keep it going with there are a few more palette swaps. Testament, Ilya. This is the one where I was kind of thinking, it's like, I might spend mats on a palette swap, maybe. Because that's really all it is. It's a palette swap of Ilya. They didn't even use the Testament sprite from the original event, which is also a palette swap of the CE Prisma Cosmos, which is something I did not realize until making this video. It is wild that I never realized that, and it kind of blew my mind. Last palette swap is Mysterious Heroine Z, and again, yeah, just they're nice looking palettes. The palette swaps look nice, but it's not really worth it in my mind. Let's keep it with small changes for now. Like, this one's disappointing. This one is disappointing. D for disappointing. Because they could have at least used the sprite that they already had for CEO Penthesilea, but they didn't, for reasons I don't understand. And it's just so disappointing. This would have been in B tier. But on principle, I don't want to. I like the glasses. I like the tie. They're really funny. For the joke, it would definitely be worth it. But on the principle, I cannot. Because they just went a weird direction with it. But on a similar vein, Mysterious Heroine Lambda, Melteris with glasses. It's such a small change. But, you know those, like, changes, like, small changes can make a big difference. Sometimes it's like she has that look where it's just like, I am so much cooler than you in these glasses. And she is correct. And again, it goes into the idea where, like, the joke of it is worth it. The joke of it alone is worth it. But speaking of glasses, no, Li Shuen. You don't just get to take your glasses off and call it a costume. I know that Lambda can put her glasses on and call it a costume, but at least it feels different. It's a small change, but the small change makes it feel different. You don't. You just look like you don't have glasses on anymore. I know, again, biases are coming into this, but yeah. Oh, more small changes. I'll put you in C tier. Because our Holy Mother of Lucha looks great in these Lucha masks. And it's really fun. This one, the evil grin and eyes, they're great, but I don't feel like spending mats for masks, even though I love the character and abs. The abs are great. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to go into any more small changes for now, because I want to have them have their moments. Oh, wait, no, I missed one. I missed two. I missed two small changes. I'm sorry. You go here because you just have a hood. Y. And you, unlike BB, gain a tan. And because you're Musashi, you get D tier. Because I can't ever hate Musashi. So, yeah, she gets D tier. It's basically on the same principle as BB, or so it's like you are on crack if you think I'm just going to pay for a tan. And then, yes, that is all the small differences except for the two obvious ones that you see down there. let's go over some mid-range differences. Like, well, I can't even call this a mid-range difference, can I? This is a heavy difference. But the main thing that puts it into B tier for Arthur in his fancy suit. Actually, no, A tier. I'm a fool because that suit is perfect. But what puts it away from S tier is that it's not a portrait art. It is just the sprite art for the costume. But I do give credit that is a different sprite art than the base Arthur. So, meet in the middle, you get A tier. That suit is amazing. I love it. I definitely already have it. So some more mediated differences. Oh, the latest one, Okita Shoji. This is one where she's like the background art isn't really different, and it's really just that she has hamaka pants and different hairstyle. But the sprite art is the same, but also those small changes look really, really good. It's kind of like the logic I used with Meltress over here. It's like small changes went such a long way with this design, and I love it. She looks so good. And I think... yeah, now we're on to the portrait arts. Let's go one that I want. Oh, this one. This one is actually kind of disappointing because... don't get me wrong, the art is great. I love the art. Arjuna laughing and all happy, about to be obliterated by that monkey while in a hot spring. It's great art. But do you see the problem with it? It doesn't show the costume. That is the biggest problem with the art. And it's something that I have to hold against it strongly because, sure, it's a great art. It'd make a great CE art. But it's supposed to show the costume he's wearing, and it does not. In a similar vein, Little Da Vinci is kind of like that. It shows most of the costume. It doesn't show the giant hands that she has in her sprite. And I feel like that's missing out on something that you could have had like a fun art with the giant hands, but you just decided not to. And overall, I'm not crazy about the costume. It's kind of simple, but... so yeah, overall, it gets a B tier. It's like, I probably would, but... meh. This one is probably one of the few full portrait arts that's going into C tier, because I can't put a full portrait art anywhere below C tier, because at least it goes like the full mile of doing everything correct. But that's just where my biases come in, and just like, I don't really like it. I hate his hair. His hair bothers me. Like, really bothers me. I don't like looking at it. And so I don't want to pay for it. I don't even really like Moriarty mechanically. Story-wise, he can be fun, but mechanically, I don't really ever see myself using him. But speaking of characters I would use, and holy god, that's a great costume. That's amazing costume. It's just like, Carter looks so cool here. It carries the weight of the fact that I think that it should have been an Ortonix and changed some of the skill sets, just because of like the story behind it. There's like a full story reason behind this costume, and I feel like it should have changed something about him mechanically, gameplay-wise, but it didn't. And I do want to docket points for that, but it looks so damn cool that I can't. I think the animation for his Noble Phantasm changed a bit, but that's about it. So yeah, I also missed out on Maeve here. She goes in the same category as Arthur for pretty much the exact same reasons. It's just a sprite art, but it's a different sprite art, it's a different costume, all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Let's talk about Nero now. Because, yes, and yes. Nero has fantastic servant costumes. The art, Wada, you are a mad genius, and I love your art so much. it deserves S tier. They look so great. They look so fantastic. It's amazing. And let's continue on. Oh, speaking of Wada, B tier. I don't use Robin that much, so it kind of goes down there. And I also don't really like Robin Hood that much. He just never did it for me, I guess. So, yeah, that's more of a reasoning of I don't really use him, don't really care for him. But, again, it's Wada's art, and I like it a lot. So, I would spring mats for it. That is the power of Wada. Okay, let's see who is next. Let's go for some Parvati, and I like the nostalgia factor. And, yeah, that is a good use of nostalgia, as some other servants do well, some other servants do terribly, but we will get to that later. Closer to the end. I'm not going to end on it because I want to end on happier notes. But let's continue on with what are good nostalgia buttons. Mordred's Memory of Trifas is great. I love the art. I love the sprites. I love everything about it. I've always loved this costume for her. It is great. And then Alstafo's Memory of Trifas. I was never too crazy about the costume. It's a cute outfit for him. I do like him in this outfit, but it's not amazing outfit. It's like, obviously, I'm going to buy it. It's in the A tier. I have already bought it. He always wears it. But from just like overall taste point of view, yeah. I have to go with A tier. And let's actually, speaking of, let's put some more dudes in the S tier because we got the Count of Monte Cristo. This is the great. I love Danganronpa's art style. I love the Count of Monte Cristo, and it's like it looks like such like the introduction of a character art. You know, the ones that Danganronpa always has. That's what this looks like, and I love it for that. It's amazing. And now we got let's go with Emiya, because Emiya, I've never really been into Emiya. Emiya is another character that just never really did it for me, and the costume is kind of meh anyway. So, yeah, no, C tier. No. Also Gilgamesh. I like Caster Gilgamesh more, but the costume is so blasé and meh, as I don't really care about it. I don't want to spend the money. Well, not the money, the mats. And then we have, let's go with the Shinjuku girlfriends. Let's start with Salter. And the only thing that stops me from putting this into A tier is a bit of saltiness that I will get into in a second. But I don't like how Salter got her costume before Saber got her suit from Zero. They have the sprite in the game, but I don't have it as a costume yet. And they had the Zero rerun where they could have made it a costume, and they didn't, and I am still annoyed about that. But then we have Shinjuku Jolter, whose costume, her outfit I always liked a lot better than Salter's anyway, from that chapter. So, regardless, she was going to be above Salter. I just like the costume better. I'm a bit biased. But let's get into the part where the biases really come in. Invisible Air. Where, oh, where do you go? It's so nostalgic. It shows just how she always hid her sword. And the Fate Stay Night series and Zero. Even though it doesn't really matter in Fate Grand Order anymore. And it is the laziest piece of shit on this list. I hate Invisible Air so much. Because not only did it take the spot that the Zero suit rightly deserved, hell, even the raincoat from Fate Stay Night deserved it more. But it's so lazy. I hate it. And I've seen people say, oh, I like it, the nostalgia, the blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I really don't care. Nothing you can say can make me change my mind. I do not like that it is a costume that I have to pay mats for. I don't care how small amount of mats, even if they're the most common mats in the game. I don't care. It is not worth it. I hate it so much. But you know what? Let's go into a little more hate. Because then we got Shiki. 3 different costumes for shitty bunny ears. I cannot understand the logic behind that. Sure, you can say that, hey, Shiki looks cute with bunny ears, and yes, she does. They have a CE about it. They could have used the costume from the CE to do it. But no, they just slap some bunny ears on her head and call it a day and expect you to want to pay mats for 3 different ones. You're on crack, and you need to get help. But we do have 2 saving graces for bunny costumes. We have Paul Bunyan, who also comes with built-in Monty Python references, which is the main reason why she's S tier. I mean, without the Monty Python references, she'd be A tier, so it's still high, because it's a great costume. It's like, I like the little saber head, and that the fact that she's covered in the blood of her enemies. And then we have Skahawk Bunny. Oh, dear sweet Jesus. It is great. It is everything I want. And it's everything I deserve. Then we have Siegfried, who is channeling some Sigurd. I'll put him in B tier because Siegfried is, again, a character I'm not really crazy about, but I do like the art. I like him in glasses, and I like Sigurd a lot, and him channeling the Sigurd vibes is really good. But speaking of Sigurd, he also gets S tier. From beyond the fact that it is a great costume, his art matches with Brynhild in her summer, like the Berserker. You can tell I'm not forming words correctly. I am so in love with this. It is great. I love the matching couple vibes. It is great. I am here for this. And all we have left is some pretty boys. So let's go. Pretty boy number 1. You go here because you are super pretty. So pretty. Pretty boy number 2. Penis Wizard. You go here because I'm not crazy about the art style, but it still looks really, really good. I'm into it. And then pretty boy number 3. Evil, angry Pomeranian. Let's see here. You have to go up here somewhere. You here. Because it's a good costume. It's very intricate, and I like the art. But yeah. That is the tier list for all of this nonsense. So yeah, this is the tier list for my thoughts on the servants' costumes in Fate Grand Order. I will leave a link to this in the description below. You're free to voice your opinions. I will like your opinions in the comments below. I will leave a little heart because you are all entitled to your opinions. But know that if you try to make me change my mind about this bottom row, I will not care. So, with all that said, before I sign off, I will let you know that if you are interested in digital art, webcomics, and some cosplay, like all these servants are doing, you should check out my buddies over at creativeattribute.com. And if you fancy buying anything from the store, anything at all, use coupon code VOID for 10% off of any purchase. Link and all that stuff in the description below. And if you want to see me in more of my nonsense, you should like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss an upload from me. And follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. All those links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you next time in the Void. Later.